What's up, guys? Welcome back to Newswave. So 2021 for the PS5 has been a bit of a slower start, I would say, from Sony. We just got Destruction All-Stars and we're looking forward to Returnal, but what's after Returnal exactly? Well, we did get a release date now for Ratchet and Clank. That appears to be the next game up this summer, and we'll talk about that here today. Also, we are going to be talking about the CD Projekt Red hacking situation, as it's taken a bit of a serious turn now with the source code for different games and even the Red Engine appearing online at auction, and it already sold. Oh, and we're also going to go over Kingdom Hearts because it's finally making its way to PC with a bit of a catch. Guys, if you enjoy these videos, make sure that like button helps out a ton. And if you're new here to the Small Wave channel, make sure you subscribe down below. And we're going to start today with Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. It's out today. I'm going to go ahead and pick it up, play through starting right away Bowser's Fury, and then go over to 3D World and kind of revisit that whole game, which is awesome. I think it's going to be a good one to pick up for the collection, and I'm looking forward to trying out Bowser's Fury. But one thing they're advertising as a new feature is the online play, and they released a trailer for it on YouTube, and it did remind me how we are doing voice chat on the Switch. It looks like it's going to be the same way here for Super Mario 3D World. I don't think it's too surprising. It's still just very odd looking. You can see some of the trailer here. It's called the Nintendo Switch My Way, and it's Super Mario 3D World plus Bowser's Fury. They disabled comments on this, by the way, which they didn't do with the My Way trailer that they released the other day. So they must have known, yeah, people are probably gonna make fun of the way that that they are talking back and forth, which was indeed just using their phone on speaker phone and then just talking to each other. Yeah, they decided not to open up Discord or just call the other person. They decided to use the Nintendo app. Yeah, again, strange solution when you have things like Fortnite on the Switch, just having you plug in a headset, but Nintendo's sticking to it, and that's how you talk to people on the Switch. Also, we have a sale starting up on the Switch eShop. We'll go over here to Nintendo's sales page. I'll leave that link down below if you want to check it out. This Bandai Namco Entertainment Publisher sale. This will be running until the 25th of February. I did look through these games. A lot of them are games that we've had on sale many times before, but hey, people are getting new Switch systems every single day, so might as well bring it to your attention whenever one of these sales pops up, because I mean, right away. Fighting Game Nominee of the Year, Jump Force Deluxe Edition at $29.99. Then we have Dragon Ball FighterZ, $9.59. Ni no Kuni, that being $12.49. You have like Katamari Damacy Reroll, that's less than $10, $9.89. I like that. That value there. That's a good pickup. Digimon Story Cyber Sleuth Complete Edition, $19.99. Tales of Vesperia at $12.49. Even God Eater 3 at $14.99. So quite a few games to go through here. It'll go until just about the end of the month on the 25th, so make sure you check it out. Oh, and I've been talking quite a bit about customizing my PlayStation 5 system and the DualSense controller, as I've already done videos on trying to customize them a bit. But one thing I would like to eventually get is an all matte black DualSense controller. Well, one is now up for sale, and we can check it out here. This being from CMP Shells. They're also doing different shells you can buy for the PlayStation 5 console itself. This one, the Classic Edition matte black DualSense PS5 controller that has the themed buttons around like the classic PlayStation console color setup there, $125. It is a 2 to 3 week turnaround for this after you order it, and to be honest, I can't really comment on the overall build quality of this or what shells they're using, nothing there. I am hoping that more and more of these shells start popping up on like Amazon, where you can get them and you can reshell the DualSense controller yourself, as I've done with like the Joy-Con controllers and the Switch. I think it would be a lot of fun to do a video where I take a stock DualSense controller and we just reshell the whole thing into something like a matte black DualSense controller with the really cool themed PlayStation buttons in place of the standard DualSense buttons. So let me know if you'd want to see something like that, because I really just want a matte black DualSense controller and then a purple controller. I think I have the purple controller figured out. I just got to figure out that matte black DualSense controller. And guys, with some of the quick news out of the way, let's get into the bigger stuff. Let's start right away with Ratchet and Clank: A Rift Apart. This is like one of the first real big gameplay sessions we had for the PS5 that was shown off, and a lot of us thought, wow, that's going to be out pretty quickly, either at launch or maybe a month or two later. No, it looks like it's going to be going halfway through 2021, like 7 or 8 months after the PS5 launched, before we get our hands on this game. We can go over to the PlayStation blog where they revealed not only the release date, but also an extra edition for the game as well, where they say, "We have been working hard to ensure that Ratchet & Clank Rift Apart is a showpiece game and exclusive for your PlayStation 5 console. We're thrilled to confirm that the game will launch on June 11th, 2021. Now, they did show off the box art. You can see that here. And they also talked a little bit about if you can just play this Ratchet & Clank game as like your first Ratchet & Clank game. They said, if you've never played a Ratchet & Clank game before, this is an excellent one to start with, as the adventure is a standalone storyline, but longtime fans of the series will find deeper layers of connection to previous games. That tends to be a question from a lot of people. If it's like a longer running series, can I start with this one? You can indeed do that. And then they showed off a couple of different editions. They of course have the standard one that will be $69.99. That's right, we are sticking with that $70 first party PlayStation pricing. And then they also have a digital deluxe edition for $10 more. So we have $70 for the standard and $80 for the deluxe edition. That will include the full game, 5 armor sets, photo mode sticker pack, 20 raritanium, which it does say is in-game upgrade materials, digital soundtrack, and a digital art book. Now, I think it was a good move for them to once again show that it is an exclusive PlayStation 5 next generation game, because there's been a lot of talks about things like Horizon Forbidden West also being on the PS4, questions around God of War, will that be on the PS4 as well? I think Ratchet & Clank from the get-go, they were thinking, okay, how can we create a game that will work to show off what the PS5 can do? And it's pretty clear that Ratchet & Clank leverages like the SSD, as has already been talked about several times over by Insomniac, something that wouldn't really be possible on the mechanical hard drive that's in the PS4, not from what they've been showing so far. And I'm excited to check this one out, but like, I'm thinking about it now, I'm thinking, okay, so Returnal is right at the end of April. Then we have Ratchet & Clank in June. This tells me that the back half of 2021 is going to be loaded. And we still have to see, apparently, Horizon, we have to see Gran Turismo, and then we have to see God of War, and I think there's a few others in there that Sony hasn't unveiled just yet that will show up, and there's even been talks about Final Fantasy 16 coming out this year, or maybe even early 2022. So yeah, it's going to be much more backloaded than front-loaded for Sony in this year, but I'm excited to check out Ratchet & Clank. That is, at this time, the next big game from Sony I'm looking forward to. Not to say that Returnal is going to be bad or uninteresting or anything, but like, I'm certainly looking past it, I will say that now, to Ratchet & Clank. I'll check out Returnal, but I'm certainly looking forward to Ratchet & Clank now. Next up, let's talk about the CD Projekt Red hacking situation. We went over it before, but very quickly, their servers were breached. Hackers stole a ton of information from there and left a ransom note in its place after encrypting all of the information that was left behind, but it was pretty obvious that they had backups of all of that. However, a ton of source code was then being shopped around online. We can go over here to Tom's Hardware, where they say the group claiming to be behind the hack has now posted the source code of CD Projekt Red's Gwent card game on a hacking forum and claim to be auctioning off the source code for Witcher 3 and Cyberpunk 2077 on the exploit forums with a starting bid of $1 million, or the option to buy it up front for $7 million. Now, the interesting thing about this is it wasn't up for very long. In fact, they pulled it down, but then they left in its place a reason why they pulled it down. Let's head over here to Twitter. This being from Kella saying, Justin, CD Projekt Red auction is closed. Hackers auctioned off stolen code for the Red Engine and CD Projekt Red game releases and have just announced that a satisfying offer from outside the forum was received with the condition of no further distribution or selling. And they post up the translation of their posting there, mentioning that yes, an offer was received and they will not be able to then distribute it further beyond that. And now there's a lot of speculation. Did CD Projekt come here and buy this from them? They've already said that they weren't going to negotiate. I don't know why they would have just gone out there and bought it. I'm actually curious, maybe someone can mention this in the comments or kind of come to a better conclusion here. What would someone want the source files or just the code here for these games? Why would it be worth potentially millions and millions of dollars unless they want to look through it or maybe they can figure something out from it? The only thing that's, I guess, interesting and has been mentioned is that the Witcher 3 source code has information based around an unreleased version of The Witcher 3, and a lot of people are speculating that's probably the next-gen patch that would come out for the Xbox Series systems and then the PS5, but like, would that be worth millions of dollars? I don't think so. Maybe people are interested in Cyberpunk because that could have a ton of maybe secrets or something hidden away there. Generally, the parts of a breach like this that would go for a bunch of money, potentially hundreds of thousands, maybe millions, depending on how much is stolen, is usually information around personnel and ways that people can steal identities, all of that kind of stuff. That's usually what will be sold off. I'm curious what the source code, where the value is there. Maybe someone can let me know down below, but at this time, it appears that someone wanted it for millions of dollars. Was it CD Projekt, or was it just someone else who was really interested in how Cyberpunk was put together? Next up, let's talk about the Kingdom Hearts series, because it looks like it's finally going to PC. In fact, the last place it has to go now is to the Switch, and we'll see if that ends up happening. However, there was an announcement, and as soon as I saw it, I said, that's gonna annoy some people. Let's head over here to Epic Games. That's right. They have apparently locked up at least a timed exclusivity deal with Square around the Kingdom Hearts series. And we can see they say the iconic Kingdom Hearts series is coming to PC for the first time ever on March 30th. Are you ready to join Sora and friends in their battle against the darkness? Pre-order all the titles in the Kingdom Hearts series starting today. And if you go over to the page, you can see all of the different games. I mean, everything's there. Kingdom Hearts HD 1.5 plus 2.5 Remix, Kingdom Hearts HD 2.8 Final Chapter, Kingdom Hearts 3 plus Remind, and then Kingdom Hearts Melody of Memory. Now, there were some questions around the pricing here because, I mean, you could see right away, they're all full price, $49.99, $59.99, etc. going on there. But generally, that's still the price for these games on other digital storefronts. I double checked because even I was like, whoa, that seems really pricey for these games that are a bit older now. That's still how much they are on Sony's own PlayStation Network. They're $50, $60, but they're generally on sale. Like right now, they're on sale. You can get, I think, 1.5 and 2.5 for like $15 or something. Same with 2.8 and even 3. Those are all on sale, but generally they are that MSRP. And I feel like we've been over this several times now. That's just what Epic is doing currently. They're going to different publishers and maybe seeing what they have in mind. Okay, what are you exactly looking to release on PC? And can we essentially give you a big bag of cash to move it to the Epic Game Store before you go to Steam? Because Kingdom Hearts is going to go to Steam eventually. It's not going to just stay on the Epic Game Store forever. They're getting a better cut on the Epic Game Store, so that on top of the big bag of cash that I'm sure they were handed, yes, that's gonna make them go to the Epic Game Store first. Could it be a year? Could it be a month or two? That's the part we don't know, unfortunately, and they won't tell us because they want you to go buy it on the Epic Game Store. Now, I'm less sympathetic towards the big publisher that does this, and I'm more sympathetic towards like the indie studio that will do this. For example, it was also announced yesterday that Axiom Verge 2 will be going to the Epic Game Store first. Now, they did mention this in a very large post on the website for the game, that it will eventually go to Steam, but they were very straightforward on this site exactly why they went with the Epic Game Store, and a lot of that has to do with, yes, revenue. I mean, they get a better split. It's like there's 88-12. They also were getting an upfront payment, which we've heard that Epic Games will do, especially for smaller indie games. And for the most part, that erases a lot of concern around first day sales for these smaller developers. I mean, if it's an indie studio and you have like 1 or 2 people and Epic shows up, offers you, we'll say $1 million, $2 million or something, you're probably gonna take it, and that better split. So again, that I get, because you have a lot of stress, a lot of weight lifted off your shoulders. But when it's Square and they release Kingdom Hearts and you know it's gonna do well, really, to me, it's just like, release on all the platforms. You get a better cut on Epic anyway. And to them, they're like, Epic first, Steam later, and we'll get a bunch of money up front. But it does look like the stage is set perfectly now for the Kingdom Hearts versions of 1.5, 2.5, 2.8, and 3 to be revealed for the Switch. Just any day now. And in our last bit of news, let's talk about a patent for the PlayStation 5 that appears to be set for something like the DualSense controller, or maybe even the PlayStation VR 2, as it does talk about like headsets as well. And some of these patents, I kind of just go right by because I'm like, yeah, they're probably not going to be using that. But like This one sounds like it could be interesting, and it's an idea that actually makes some sense based on what Sony has with the DualSense controller and the advanced haptic feedback. Let's head over here. We have Segment next, who spotted the patent, and they also went over the text here saying metadata indicating demanded haptic events during playback of an audio-video stream is embedded with the AV stream such that the metadata can be extracted during AV playback and rendered on the player's side as demanded. In this way, previously recorded video can be spectated during playback without losing whatever haptic experiences may have been generated for original playback without having to rely on merely deriving haptic events from audio. So essentially, let's say you're watching a state of play event and they tell you, hey, you may want to pick up your DualSense controller if you're watching this on a PlayStation 5. Maybe they have it set up in like this event you can watch while streamed, at which point, as it's being played through for a gameplay session they're trying to show you, the DualSense controller will react much like it would in the game itself. That is actually a really cool idea. Or you're watching a stream that maybe your favorite streamer is playing through then, right? And they're playing through a game. If you pick up your DualSense controller, you'll feel the same kind of haptic responses they are getting in the game. And that's actually a cool idea for people who want to use it. Of course, you can probably just not do it and put your DualSense controller away or just watch it on a PC or something. It's also interesting that they might do that with a headset for video playback with the PlayStation VR 2 that, yes, I'm sure will have this advanced haptic feedback loaded in. So a lot of interesting ideas that could come from this. And before we take a look at the comment of the day, let's check out the poll that I posted up yesterday on the community tab, where I asked, have you experienced controller drift with your PS5 yet? 9% of you said yes. This is out of 47,000 votes. 31% said no, and 60% said still trying to find a PS5. Now, that all lines up. I would say that's about right. 9% is actually a little more than I thought. I thought that number would be very, very low, because especially like when you get initial shipments of these different controllers, generally it takes a little bit of time for them to start drifting, but 9% of people just from this, I guess, this small poll here in the grand scheme of things, it's a bit more than I was expecting. We'll see how widespread this DualSense drifting controller situation is, but if it's something that Sony's gonna have to contend with, it is interesting to think that all three companies are dealing with their own drifting class action lawsuits. And we'll finish up with the comment of the day as you're seeing here. This is from Meme Kingdom saying, if they did Triforce Heroes with online, that would be cool. You know what? Here's something to think about with the Zelda anniversary coming up. If it kind of mimics what Nintendo did with the Mario anniversary, even on like a slightly smaller scale, they did Mario 35. I kind of think they're going to do some sort of Nintendo Switch Online offering, a free download for Nintendo Switch Online members that, yeah, will expire in 6 months. They got to get rid of it. It can't be up there forever, right? But something with Zelda, I like the idea of them leaning into the concept of 4 swords and putting that up online where you run co-op dungeons with a couple of friends, and maybe they're just randomly generated consistently, like as you go in, it's always different. Or maybe they do something like what we talked about before on one of our predictions video with Scott and Ant Dude and John, where they do like a very basic kind of Zelda dungeon maker, and you can post these dungeons up online and people try to run through them, similar to what we had with Link's Awakening, but separate and maybe slightly more robust. But yes, I do think there will be some sort of Nintendo Switch Online offering for the Zelda anniversary. And ladies and gentlemen, that's gonna do it here for Newswave. If you enjoyed this video, guys, hit that like button, really helps out. If not, hit the dislike. Leave comments down below about everything we talked about here today. Whereas Kingdom Hearts finally going to PC, the last system up is the Switch. When do you think that'll happen, if it ever will? And then also, what do you think about Ratchet and Clank not coming out until June, halfway through 2021? Are you surprised that's not closer to the PS5 launch? Thanks, guys, for watching. Have a great weekend, and I'll see you back here Monday morning, 8 a.m. Eastern Time for Newswave.